your beliefs in general were probably inherited by the people you spent the most time with. Either you take those with you for the rest of your life, or you take responsibility and say, look, I don't want it to be this way. I don't want my life to look like this in 10, 15, 20 years.
Wait a minute, it's all up to me if it's to be? Yes. And that doesn't mean bad things won't happen. That doesn't mean people won't bully you. That doesn't mean people won't be mean. But what you do in response to that is going to change the trajectory of your life. And by the way, that's the only thing you have control over anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, last week's meetup, What You Need to Know as an Early Entrepreneur Fire episode. I very much enjoyed that. Today, for episode number 674, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
All right, so I have a little story for this, and I want to let everyone out there know this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, not much.
A giant spoiler alert.
If you've seen the movie 7 Pounds with Will Smith, it's an amazing movie, so I will not ruin the movie, and I highly recommend everyone watches it. Emilia and I watched it the other night, and it's a very heartfelt, very core value aligned movie. Okay. That said, there's this scene that I think represents, it wasn't long ago that someone asked me on a podcast that actually dropped last Saturday. Shout out to Jennifer Watson. She asked me, what does it mean to be next level? And if anyone out there listening listened to that episode, it was basically, who are you when no one's watching? And this was inspired by this story. So in the movie, Will Smith is about to give a liver transplant to a specific person who has liver cancer. And there's a bunch of different scenes leading up to this, of course, but basically they're both sitting there in the, while the guy's getting chemo, and they're just talking and connecting before the surgery. And the guy asks Will Smith's character, he says, like, why me? Like, why are you doing this for me? And Will Smith turns to him and basically says, because you are a good man. And more importantly, you are a good man even when you think no one's watching. And so, to provide a little bit more context without giving away the premise of the movie, is Will Smith is basically prospecting to try to help people who are dealing with terminal illnesses. And he donates his bone marrow, he donates his liver, but that one quote, that one scene, that one line is like, you're a good man even when you don't think anyone's watching. And I think that's such a valuable concept for all of us, because do you still do the right thing behind the scenes when no one's watching? And that can go everything from as simple as, like, are you getting good enough sleep? Are you picking up trash? Are you recycling? It can be anything you can think of that is aligned or not with you. And that's what this episode's about.
How does that attach to, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility? Which is a great title. I very much like that.
So think about it this way, right? So Emilia and I went to Walmart this past weekend. We're buying new home stuff. And we bring this is mostly her, but she brings the bags so that we don't have to use plastic bags. So the fact that the environment is in trouble is not our fault. It's not Emilia and I's fault, but it is our responsibility to do everything that we can. I can't even tell you how many times I get takeout and they ask me, like, do you want a bag for this? Or like at a convenience store. Do you want a bag? I'll get, like, I don't know, a Bang or an energy drink or whatever.
15 Kit Kat bars.
Yeah. No. But occasional box of Pringles, well, yeah. Obviously. And they're like, do you want a bag? I always say no. To me, I try really hard. I don't want to say never, but I try really hard not to use any more plastic than I need to, just because I know that that's really hurting the environment. And so it's not my fault that the environment is in dire straits, but it is my responsibility to do whatever I can to help it. I mean, Kevin and I have a recycling bin in the corner that we shift through to make sure that we put the cardboard.
That's you. You do that. I got to give you all the credit in the world. I think I've maybe taken this trash out 3 times since we moved in here, so I'm grateful. Hashtag grateful.
I appreciate that.
So that's on you.
Yeah, well, I think it's important for all of us to do our part, even when no one's watching. Yeah. No one would know that except for Kevin. And, you know, even Kevin doesn't see me doing that. And dude, I don't have any extra time to do that, right? But I think it's important for all of us to take responsibility for our own actions and our own thoughts and what we say, think, do, feel, and believe.
I think we've said this so many times, but it goes back to this. You may have been mistreated in your past. You most likely have been in some way, shape, or form, hopefully not to a very, very bad degree. But if you are out there, I love you, I appreciate you, I support you, keep going, because if it's not your fault, that's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
But it is your responsibility to do something with that. So if you think of the people in your life who had terrible childhoods, we know a lot of them. You and I had interesting childhoods.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our fault. Right? It's not my fault that my dad left. I had nothing to do with that.
Right.
For most of my life, I wish I knew that, because as a child, I think I assumed it was my fault. But it's my responsibility to get over that stuff so I don't do that to my family.
Right.
I think that's the most important thing, because we go through, it's going to be a little Kevin rant, we go through life with stuff that isn't ours. Like, the fears you have probably came from somebody else. The traumas you have most likely came from somebody else. Limiting beliefs, most likely somebody else. Your beliefs in general were probably inherited by the people you spent the most time with. Either you take those with you for the rest of your life, or you take responsibility and say, look, I don't want it to be this way. I don't want my life to look like this in 10, 15, 20 years. And I just think it's a tough truth, but I think it's the one that you need to hear of, we all have reasons not to succeed. All of us, right? You, I, everybody.
Everyone.
But what are you taking responsibility for? It might not be your fault, but are you taking responsibility for the future that you want to create for yourself, for your family, for the world, the impact that you want to have? It's hard to differentiate, like, it's not my fault that this happened. But you can do something with it, regardless of whether or not it's your fault.
Why do you think people don't take more responsibility?
I think taking responsibility sucks. I think it's hard. It's you and I have a running, I don't want to say theme or a joke, but like anytime something's going on in our relationship, it's always like, I just got to get better, man. Like, that's on me. It sucks to, great example. You and I are, if you're listening to this, it's Wednesday. Alan and I are in Colorado right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had the opportunity to go, Taryn and I are supposed to be on vacation. So we're recording this on Monday. Taryn's in Vermont right now. I'm supposed to be there with her. And I said, hey, I can't go. Like, I'm going to Colorado. And we had a conversation around, like, I just wish you would have communicated that a little better. Like, don't just bring it up and say, hey, by the way, which I did. Hey, by the way, I'm going to Colorado next week. Like, don't do that. Maybe say, like, hey, babe, I know that we're going on vacation, and that's super important to you, and I know we're supposed to go with your family, but like, I have this really, really amazing opportunity with one of our mentors who's going to literally pay for our ticket. Mm-hmm. Like, all we have to do is cover the flight and the hotel, and I just think it's a great opportunity. Like, two different stories.
Right.
It sucks to hear, like, hey, you really hurt my feelings by doing it this way. It sucks. But it sucks worse making her feel worse about it.
Is it your responsibility to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know why it's my responsibility? Because I decided.
Exactly.
I don't want... I could make her feel bad about that. If I was like that kind of person, I could be like, babe, you're really gonna crap on my dreams? Like, you don't want me to go out there because you want me to be on vacation? Like, I could do that, but that's not right. That's not fair. Like, of course she wants me to go on vacation with her.
What's that going to get you?
Right. It's going to get me single.
Exactly. Yeah, literally.
You know?
Or in an unhappy relationship.
But in all fairness, I think this is important. I wasn't always that.
Yeah.
For a long time, I would have been not so nice Kevin. Of like, I would have wanted to fight instead of to actually communicate. And I think it sucks. It doesn't feel good when somebody tells you did bad. It just doesn't feel good. And I think you either ego up or you get vulnerable. And I think naturally, I know in my past it would be to ego up, but I think getting vulnerable is hard. I think that's why.
Hello everyone, my name is Amy Lenius and I am co-host of the Evolution of Mom podcast. I can't say enough about Kevin, Alan, and their entire team over at Next Level University. When Charisse and I decided to expand our influence to empower and help as many women as possible, we knew that these were the guys to call to make that dream a reality. Not only did they help us with every aspect of our podcast, they have both become mentors in every aspect of my life. If you are looking to level up your life in any way, shape, or form, you are absolutely in the right space. I look forward to seeing this beautiful community of growth-minded people that you guys have created expand, and I can't wait to see all the incredible value I know you're going to bring us in the future. Thank you guys so much.
One of the things that I want to make sure I bring on this episode is the layers of responsibility. Because this episode it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. But I also want everyone to understand why taking responsibility is actually a good thing, even though it does not feel good. Taking responsibility and owning up to something doesn't feel good in the moment, but it does give you the ability to really look in that mirror and say, okay, I'm going to change this now. And so a simple example of this is if it's McDonald's fault that you're overweight, there's nothing you can do about that because McDonald's is still going to be there. And so every time you're pointing at something outside of yourself, I understand why. And to be honest, sometimes it is someone else's fault. I mean, let's be real. But it's not going to help you. Like if you had said it's my dad's fault that I now don't love myself, it's like that's not going to help you. You know what would help you is saying it's not my fault my dad left, but it is my responsibility to love myself and to work on this so that I can have a better life. And so these are the layers of responsibility. The first one is everything you say is your responsibility. The second is everything you don't say. I was on a relationship talks this weekend. We did 2 this weekend. And I'll keep it anonymous always, but there was a married couple we were on the phone with, and the man in the relationship was from the military and struggles with vulnerability. Totally okay. That's what they want to work on together, and I admire the fact that they're there working on it. But he had this belief that actions speak louder than words, and I love that because they do in many regards. But here's what I said. I said, listen, and I mean this with all the respect in the world, but man to man, I think that belief of actions matter way more than words is stopping some of the words. Words are not or actions are not a replacement for words. And if you're out there and you're in an intimate relationship that doesn't have a lot of deep, vulnerable conversations, you understand that, yeah, actions matter. Actions matter a lot. But you know what else matters? What you say, what you express, what you're willing to talk about. And so the first layer of responsibility is what you say. The second layer is what you fail to say, what you don't say but should have. Like if I have so I talked to Kevin earlier today about a business situation that I think we're in regarding the team. And it's literally like, okay, it's my responsibility to express this if it's going to change. I notice there's a trajectory we're headed down that I think is concerning, and that's okay. But if I don't bring it up, it's not going to change. Yeah. Either that or it's going to be all on my shoulders, and then I'm going to regret not bringing it up when we do hit the rocks that I noticed. So what you say is your responsibility. What you don't say is also your responsibility. Third, what you do is your responsibility. Did you do something that was causing someone else harm? Did you do something that caused you harm? Did you, eat like crap and now you feel like crap and have heartburn and now you get bad sleep and then now you miss that important meeting? Like what you do matters, okay? The fourth layer, so first layer is what you say. Second layer is what you don't say. Third layer is what you do. Fourth layer, what you fail to do, what you don't do. You want to go to the gym and don't? Your responsibility. You want to have that check-in with your intimate partner, but didn't make the time, your responsibility. Very last layer, most important layer, fifth layer, what you believe. What you believe and don't believe. That is such an important thing. Kevin and I are going to end up talking about an episode, this will be next Monday, Friday. And it's about mindset is everything, almost. And it's dropping Friday. What you believe is your responsibility. If you believe that the world is dark and dismal and then you're depressed, that's on you. If you believe the world is good and then you look for the good and then you feel good, that's also on you. Everything you believe, say, think, do, feel, all of it has implications. And honestly, the very last thing I'll say here is even what is done or said to you, the way in which you respond is also your responsibility. And that's the most empowering thing ever. Like, wait a minute, it's all up to me if it's to be? Yes. And that doesn't mean bad things won't happen. That doesn't mean people won't bully you. That doesn't mean people won't be mean. But what you do in response to that is going to change the trajectory of your life. And by the way, that's the only thing you have control over anyway.
It's proactive action. That's what it is. You have to take action. You have to do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
this one resonates with me. It might not be your fault that you feel like you're outgrowing your partner, but it's your responsibility to communicate the truth that you might know that they don't know yet. That's one of the biggest, I'm sure you've experienced this, that's one of the biggest things I have on calls with people. We're talking about their relationships and why it's like, I don't know how to communicate this. Well, I know it's difficult, but it's your responsibility because you're aware of something that they don't know yet. Mm-hmm. They don't know that you feel like you're outgrowing them or you're growing apart. Maybe that's a better phrase. They don't know that.
Right.
And they're not going to know that until you express it. It might not be your fault that you feel like your friends and you are growing apart, but it's your responsibility to communicate that or find a community that you want to be a part of.
Right.
I think it's the most empowering thing, like you said. You can, it takes you from a victim to a hero.
Literally.
You know, it's not your fault, most likely. Like, more often than not, it's not.
Right.
But if it doesn't become your responsibility, it's gonna end up becoming somebody else's fault.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't fix it, somebody else is gonna have to fix it for you in their future, and that's just not the place you want to live.
Last thing I'll say before we go is this. So I just want to give a tangible example to make sure this really lands, and I think that this is one of the most relatable examples. It is not my fault that I grew up around a lot of alcohol, but it was my responsibility to realize the implications of that and to learn how to quit drinking. It's my choice. And the very last thing here is like, listen, if you live in a free country where you get to make your own choices, you get to work where you want to work, live where you want to live, do what you want to do, say what you want to say, freedom of speech, all of that, then it is your responsibility. Because whereas if there's someone, so for example, someone in prison right now, maybe they don't have the ability to choose right now, like they don't get to do whatever they want, right? But if you're in a free society where you do have the ability to wake up tomorrow morning and build your day how you want to build it, go to work or not, like everything is a choice. And I think that taking responsibility for the choices, what you say, think, do, feel, and believe, and what you don't say, think, do, feel, and believe, it's all a choice. And I think that's what we will always keep coming back to on this podcast.
If you're out there right now, ask yourself this question: what is something that I can take responsibility for or on? Again, listening to the show is amazing. Like, we love that. We love that, so many people listen. But I actually want you to take an action. So I want to challenge you to take an action of what is something I can take responsibility for that I haven't yet? What is something I can take responsibility on that I should? Boom.
Fire.
You dig that?
I do.
Also, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I don't remember who it was. But like I said, we have a lot of amazing people. We don't have fans. We have family. If you actually want to get to know and talk to the people who listen to this show, who are most likely similar to you because they listen, join Next Level Nation. The link is below in the show notes. It's also on the website, nextleveluniverse.com. But the podcast doesn't have a way for people to connect. You can connect with us by listening to us and reaching out to us. But if you want to connect with people like this who listen, join our private Facebook group.
Also, proximity is power. If you want help or guidance or mentorship or coaching in your life, Kevin or I have spots available. Reach out to myself or Kevin on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. Reach out as soon as possible. We'd love to jump on the phone and connect. And if it's the right fit, we will help you achieve your goals and dreams. We know that for sure.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Up next is the Q&A from last week. Is being an entrepreneur for everybody? That is a powerful, powerful Q&A. If you're a new entrepreneur or somebody who wants to get into that, check it out because it is very, very valuable. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. We appreciate you. And as always, we do not have fans. We have family. Talk to you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.